Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Mina with Mountain in the Field Cooking. It's a place where we really just love to cook for the health of it and to truly enjoy the beneficial things that the Most High has provided for all of us to nourish our bodies. A lot of the things that we are going to be preparing on this channel, this is just the first of many recipes, but the beautiful thing about it is that we have food that will cater to many beneficial aspects of not only healing the body, but things that are going to connect us more with the earth and really just allow for the Most High to come into our bodies and clean up our vessels for a place of true overall healing. The one thing that we truly love about this recipe, what we're getting into today, is a basil walnut pesto made with a little bit of goat cheese. This is a place where we are going to emphasize not necessarily vegan food, but vegan-ish food or vegetarian, plant-based eating. We don't want to get too caught up into titles, but the real big thing is that we are all about balance, bringing our body into harmony in general, and eating things that are nourishing, not creating a graveyard in our bodies, but more so things that are going to boost the overall wellness and prosperity of the wealth that is health. What I really enjoy about this recipe is it's not so strict that you have to stay focused on exact measurements. It really is attuning it more to your general taste. And so what we like to say is letting the spirit kind of take over and really tell us where we need to stop with certain things. But I'm going to give you the basis as to what all we're including today. So the base of all of this, of course, is basil, the star of the show. It has really great health benefits where it's a natural antidepressant. It's really good as an antibiotic or an antiviral. It's really good as well to kind of help with balancing out the gut health. And that's really good because, sorry that I keep saying really good, but in general, it's great. In general, it's all going to tie back together because this is balancing out the great gut health that goat cheese also gives and provides for the body as well.
So, why would we go for goat cheese and not just regular cheese?
Because goat cheese is a little bit easier for the body to digest, and there's a lot of beneficial attributes to goat cheese that are a lot better and a lot more pure than traditional cow's milk. And then the big thing as well is because goat cheese is not as widely coveted, but it's not as widely marketed, there's not going to be as much of a conflict of having a lot of industrial farms that are, of course, locking the cows up in cramped places. Oftentimes they're unhealthy, unhappy. Just in general, they tend to not have as much of that, I'm sorry to get a little graphic with it, but the pus value that traditional cow's milk will also have. But then with that being said, goats are usually fed a more balanced diet in the not industrialized factor, so they also have a lot of copper and phosphorus that's rich in these products as well. And just in general, you don't have to use as much salt to kind of balance out that flavor.
Okay. So for the extremely strict, vegans out there that are part of the vegan police that we like to call them, why would you suggest using goat cheese over regular cheese? I know that a bunch of conversations we've had about rennet that's in a bunch of the vegan cheeses.
Yeah.
But other than
no. That's in traditional cheese.
In traditional cheese as well? Thank you for the correction. So why would you suggest someone to use this?
Now, I do definitely suggest overall reading the back of the package. Not all cheeses are created equal, so a lot of times they can use code words such as enzymes, but the big thing and code word of the enzyme is parallel to the rennet as well, and that's really using kind of the stomach of the animal to actually create that full out curdling process. The one thing that I like about this particular cheese is that it has microbial enzymes, so it's not sourced directly from that animal in order to create that full textural aspect of everything.
Okay.
But we're gonna not breeze through this, but we're gonna move on to the walnuts as well.
I'm just about to ask you about that.
Those are really good for brain health as well, and it just bulks it up. And I know personally, even though I do like the flavor of pine nuts, which you find in a traditional pesto, the big thing about walnuts, outside of the great factor of having omega-3s in it, is that you're also not going to be paying such a severe price tag on it. You can get a large quantity of walnuts, especially if they're organic and clean. You can get a large quantity of them from some of your bulk stores and not pay like $25 for 5 pounds of it. But yeah. Also, they're just really good to kind of have in the kitchen because you can use them for other, like, I don't really focus on mock meat so much, but if you're using something and you need a good source of protein, you can always soak some walnuts and add that to some other dishes that you might be cooking with.
And what's this good right here? Olive oil?
Yes.
Okay.
So olive oil is great as well. We know that it's great for overall digestion and skin health. It's good for the heart, it's good for the mind, it's good for our bodies. And a big thing about this is you can also mix it with other oils. So if you have like a MCT oil or avocado oil, you don't have to be so married to just using olive oil in this recipe. But I don't want to talk too much. And
what's this right here before we move on?
Sorry. So our Himalayan pink salt, that's more so just for the factor of if you want a salt to taste. I don't use too much of it, so it's really just like 1 to 2 grinds in it. Pepper, of course, to add a little seasoning. We're not going to get too heavy into the seasonings because sometimes you will like to keep it a little bit more generic, but you can always season it to taste. I just love the flavor of basil, so I don't go too far from the traditional, but you can also add things like a little bit of dried red pepper flakes, or you can use like oregano. You can even put a dash of like balsamic vinegar in it if you really want it. And if you have like a glaze, that's also really nice too. But those are also things that you can kind of eat it with. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the basis of your recipe.
Okay.
But yeah, have fun with it.
That being said, we should get to the fun stuff, right?
Yeah. Right. So make sure, of course, that your basil is already clean. Rinse intensely. You don't want to have any of those dirt particles in it. You can start off with a couple bunches of it, and of course my beloved doesn't really care for me to take off the stem, so we're just going to put that all the way in. You can definitely take them off. It will make it a little bit smoother of a consistency if you wanted to go for that true smooth spread effect, and we like it both ways, so I'm gonna kind of compromise with having a little bit of this and a little not of that.
Okay.
So we're just gonna get started with a small bunch of all of this. You can definitely come back and edit, but it really just is up to the preference of how much basil you like in the first place. I and my beloved definitely like to eat a lot of basil, so
basil, we love it.
Yeah, we'll munch on that by itself and not have an issue with it, so don't hold us too much to that. But outside of that, I'm starting with about 1.5 cups of walnuts, and you can, depending on the size of your food processor, mine is relatively just our nice personal one. We have a more industrial one down the line, but you can get started with just that and then add a little bit of the oil. I like to add the cheese a little bit later because of the fact that you don't want to like jam it too much, but I also want to give this a finer grind just to get started and then come back with the cheese and kind of smooth it all out.
Okay, so how many times you plan on posting this?
Oh, I post it a lot.
Okay, alright.
We like cream in this house. Alright, so you start with the and then make sure, of course, you can come back to come back to scrape down the sides, but I'm going to grind it a little bit. Get it all up in there. They all want love. And it just smells really good so far, so.
So far, so good.
Right. Now, I'm going to talk after I grind. Now, the fun part about this, which I always get to struggle with that. The fun thing about this is that, honestly, if you didn't want to add the goat cheese, you could leave it as this. You could definitely, if you're really wanting to go the whole traditional route, you can just kind of add a little bit of nutritional yeast to it. I do that from time to time just to kind of give it a little bit of a cheesy / umami flavor. But I am not so much of a stickler sometimes. So we still go a little hard with the goat cheese. So get that in. I'm going to add a little bit more of the olive oil. I don't necessarily want it to be too loose, but I do want it to be a little bit more loose and creamy than this, just because of the fact that sometimes we like to use it as an overall dressing or just something we can dip our pita chips into. Makes for a great afternoon snack, or just something nice to kind of dress with your like chickpeas or pasta. And it's already starting to come together a lot.
It smells so good.
It really does.
Wish you guys back home could smell it.
One day we'll have smell-o-vision. So I don't even know if I would be looking forward to that type of technology. But hey, I'd rather you just make it in your own household so you can experience the joy of it yourselves.
Mm-hmm. You gonna post it how many more times?
We actually, depending on if you like it at this consistency, you can leave it this way. I mean, this is definitely one of the ways that we've consumed it in the past. But would you like me to go a little harder with this?
Let's go a little harder for the people.
Do you want some more goat cheese, or are you good at this?
I think we're good with the goat cheese right now.
Well, I'm going to give a little bit of a crack of pepper just to give a little bit of love and spice. Not too spicy, you know, I'm not going to really claim that as a spice. And like...
a little bit of salt?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
goat cheese on its own is pretty good on, or pretty balanced on the salt level, so you don't need too much to give you that tanginess and that. So I wanted to bring this back so you could truly see all of the action that we're getting today. Now with this, I really think that I actually want it to be a little bit greener in this color, so I'm going to go back and add a little bit more basil. I just know that we really like it as a pungent flavor, and you can never really get too much basil unless you don't like basil to start. But then, outside of that, why would you be making pesto otherwise? No. But the big part about all of this is just like, it's a really herby and like really good earthy flavor that comes through with this. And because of the fact that we genuinely appreciate the benefits of basil, I'm just going to kind of hit you with the 1-2 punch and just go hard with it. I'm going to hit it with a little bit more pepper.
And actually, I want a little bit more goat cheese too.
So you want more goat cheese?
A little bit of goat cheese, yeah.
I mean, I can't be mad at you for that.
Okay.
So we're going to add the goat cheese. And then I'm just going to... I put it out here. I might as well go hard with it.
Yeah, you might put the whole thing there. Yeah. Who are we getting?
So a couple more sprigs. Well, not even a sprig. I'll leave a little bit.
Can I get one of them stems?
You want a stem?
Yeah, can I get a stem?
Here, I'll just let you have
the whole thing?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's how we go. You thought this was a game. But anyway.
Are you going to pulse a few more times?
Yeah. So we're just going to chop this up and let it grind out a little bit. And what I was jokingly going to say beforehand, and the traditional way of making pesto in general is by using a mortar and pestle. Now, of course, we do have the technologies to, be able to use a food processor overall. But if you do not have the opportunity to have one of these in your house, you can potentially just grind it or just finely chop it. If you know how to mince anything really small, that is also a way that you can at least get the flavor of it, even if you're not getting the full out effect of like a ground pesto.
Time for a little taste.
One more scrape down and then I think we're good.
Okay.
I don't want to cheat you of the full aesthetics, babe. Alright, one last grind. And actually, can you do me the grand honors? I know I'm taking your basil munching hand, but can you just press this button for me for a hot second?
Sure.
Actually, let's hit the grind and then I'll be right back. Go ahead. Alright, so I just wanted to have the proper way for you to test our food today. Just have some pita chips that we have for lunch and dinner for the past 2 days. I'm going to go ahead and reuse the same container, even though I'm going to make it pretty for y'all in a second. But graciously pull this on off. It's nice and smooth.
Oh, yeah.
It smells great.
Mm-hmm. Looks good, too.
Right. I'm about it. And again, you can use this on a...
Show it to the people. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sound like the Kool-Aid man.
Right? Oh, yeah. Now, I can make this real pretty for y'all. I'll come back for the pictures later.
Okay.
But the overall is started. Would you like to do the honors, babe?
Yes, I would. Don't mind if I do. Thank you. I didn't get as much as I wanted. Oh, yeah. That's it right there. That's it right there. Let's go.
Blink. Yeah.
Yep. That's it. All right. We want to thank you guys for watching the video. We certainly enjoyed making it. Just like we certainly enjoyed tasting this. Want you guys to make this at home. You got anything you want to say?
Sorry that I'm like mid-chew, but I really do hope that you get a chance to make this at home. Again, there's so many benefits that come out of the food that the Most High put in our grafts to really not only be good and nourishing for the body, but overall, health is wealth. Why not enjoy it in any way that you can?
Most definitely. With that being said,
I'm going to sign out.
Shalom.
Shalom.